Hello there, lovely people. It's Alex from Nintendo Life here, and today, as is tradition, we're going to be looking through some of the finest games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of March 2019. As always, I do have to say this isn't every game coming to the Switch. This is just a handful, the sort of the cream of the crop in our personal view that we've hand-plucked from the various pages denoting what games are coming out. So if there's a game that you really like that isn't listed, then worry ye not, I'm sure it's still marvelous. We have nothing personal against it, we just haven't included it for some reason. But anyway, that's more than enough waffling, let's dive right into things. First of all, we have got ToeJam and Earl back in the groove. Now, if you've never heard of ToeJam and Earl, you clearly weren't really conscious or even alive in the 90s, because this is probably the most 90s thing ever, frankly. It absolutely oozes that sort of ridiculous, overly colourful, wiggly line type thing that I remember somewhat clearly. I mean, I was born in the 90s, like right at the start, like 1991 if you want to get specific, so I do remember it, but at the same time, I've never played a ToeJam and Earl game. I think I've seen some other people play it, and it looks very much of the time. I think it's one of those games where it's going to be quite divisive. A lot of people who maybe don't understand what ToeJam and Earl is all about, or even ToeJam and Earl, who would have thought? They might look at it and think, well, aren't you just wandering around and finding spaceship parts and bits of food and XP and stuff like that? And yeah, that kind of is what you're doing, but the whole thing is sort of randomly generated and stuff like that, and I think it's very much playing off the originals and what made them so entertaining, which is great. That's what you want for something that's meant to be a throwback. But at the same time, it's very bold that they're going that much about, you know, sort of in relation to the originals rather than trying to modernize it. Very bold, and I'm looking forward to it. Also on the 1st of March, we have got Awesome Pea. At its core, it's a relatively straightforward platformer game, but it's got this lovely aesthetic that just, it just tickles me in so many special areas. Not like that. It's quite clearly based on the sort of the pea soup, pea green style. In fact, actually, that's probably why it's a pea you're playing as. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. That's obviously very reminiscent of the original Game Boy, the OG, the DMG Game Boy from back in the late 80s, early 90s. We're back in the 90s again, aren't we? And I don't know, there's just something appealing about it, isn't there? It just tickles that nostalgia bone that everybody has, and some people have for different things. For me, I have it for the Game Boy, although I don't actually have that much nostalgia for the green, because my first Game Boy was a Pocket, which was appropriately monochrome, grayscale. Then on the 5th of March, we've got Unknown Fate, or is it Fate Unknown? I had it up somewhere. Yep, it's Unknown Fate. Didn't know anything about this game before I started researching this video, and it just looks like a very interesting first-person sort of puzzle exploration style adventure. It's kind of almost a little bit sort of, it sort of feels a little bit like Another World, or Out of This World if you prefer, but from a first-person perspective, and potentially with less dying. I don't know. The trailers don't show any dying, but you never know what might occur when you pick up that controller. I love the look of the game. The world looks really immersive and really ethereal and unusual, and there's this sort of very definite sort of dreamlike vibe to the whole thing, and, you know, that's part of the whole thing, you know, sort of wake up with no memories and it's like you're in a dream, but the dream's so real, whoa, and all that sort of thing. It just looks like good fun. Do I need another reason? Probably. I have to be critical and analytical. Moving on to the 6th of March, we have got Elevator to the Moon! Championship Turbo Edition, or something like that. I didn't write the full title down in my notes. As you can probably tell from the title, this game doesn't take itself too seriously, which is no bad thing. I loved me a little bit of levity, and this has it, I would say in bucket loads, but it's more cup loads, you know, sort of a jugfuls rather than bucket loads, because it kind of takes itself maybe a tiny bit seriously. It's not completely whimsical is what I'm trying to say. You are in a lift, or elevator if you prefer to be accurate to the title, or American, and simply you've just got to maintain it, make sure that it stays working, and that you get the elevator presumably to the moon. The interesting thing is, though, is that you can just choose to completely and utterly disobey all commands and try and sabotage it and, you know, make things go wrong. And it sort of just looks like there's a great sense of fun involved there and a great deal of sort of fluidity and a personal choice involved as well. And it was a VR game, I think. It has sort of been changed for Switch, and VR games are sort of inherently going to be shorter experiences, so I don't imagine this will last forever, but even so, it looks like it's going to be a good lot of fun, that is. The very next day, on the 7th of March, we have got Valley, which is a game that was made by the creators of Slender. Do you remember that? Blimey, blast from the past. Recent past. In this game, you play as a chap who's got his hands on a leap suit, which I think stands for leap effortlessly through the air. Something. Basically, what it allows you to do is run really blooming quickly and jump really blooming far, completely effortlessly. And I don't know much about the game. Apparently the sort of the world and the story is really interesting and deep, and so I've tried to sort of steer clear away from it in case I do end up playing it, and in which case I don't want it spoiled for me, but apparently it's really, really deep and immersive, and apparently it's not very long, but it is supposed to be very good for what it is. And the gameplay, it looks really exhilarating and just really high-octane fun, you know? It's all fun, fun, fun this time. It's almost like games are entertainment. Then on the 12th of March, we've got Claybook, which is a very different game to all the ones we've previously stated, because you are controlling a blob of clay, and you have to like roll around and sort of find your way through the Claybook, titular and all that, who'da thunk it. And in order to do that, you've got to change your shape into different shapes in order to overcome different obstacles, and different shapes are better at different things, you know, that whole thing. And it just looks really interesting, and it looks lovely as well, doesn't it? The visual style of all the clay, it looks really, really good. I love me claymation and stuff like that, so anything that plays off that is an okay in my book. I find I'm spitting a lot today, I don't know why, it's going all over my monitor. Then on the 14th of March, we have got the really obscure and really bizarre game, Babar Is You, or Babar? No, it's probably Babar, isn't it? Where basically, it's so simple in its premise, but as a result of just having a lot of freedom, it becomes ludicrously complex, and I really don't fully know how to describe it. I suppose mostly as a puzzle game. Like, as you can probably see from the footage, there's words and objects, and you have to sort of, you can associate different properties to things by moving them around and things like that. It looks really deep and complex, but at the same time really simple on the forefront, and it sort of echoes of code and things like that, and coding things yourself, which is bizarre, but it looks fantastic to me, honestly. Then on the 14th of March, we have got Golf Peaks. Now, a little interesting fact about this game, I was the first journalist to ever play this game. It's one of those games where the theme realistically doesn't actually impact the gameplay that much. You know, sort of, it's obviously got a golf theme, but you really do not need to know the rules of golf in order to play. It is sort of like, it's a very simple, relaxed puzzle game. It's sort of, you know, bite-sized chunks here and there, and you just got to get the ball into the hole like golf, but you do so through a limited number of strokes, and you know, you can do things like bounce off walls, and you have to think about how you're going to get a ball into a particular area, and it's not as simple as it first seems. I mean, it is simple, but the solutions can sometimes require a little bit of lateral thinking. Lateral. Then on the 19th of March, we've got Fate Extella Link. Yes, that's right. This is a game that I personally don't have an awful lot of love for. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't appeal to me personally, but I can recognize when a game is going to be good and has a, you know, a great following and stuff like that, and is a good game objectively. Just for me, subjectively, it's not my cup of tea. It's essentially a sort of an action, almost sort of hack and slash style game, not entirely dissimilar to something like Dynasty Warriors in a very broad sense, where you're running around killing a lot of faceless goons, and then, you know, you'll have larger enemies and stuff like that. And I don't quite know why it doesn't appeal to me, because I do like Hyrule Warriors, Although I don't really care for Dynasty Warriors, maybe it's that. But if that looks like your kind of thing, then this is a series that has been going on for such a ruddy long time, it can't not be good, really, can it? Then again, Sonic Forces exists. Unravel 2 is coming on the 22nd of March. Actually, that's really appropriate. Unravel 2 on the 2/2 of March. It would only be better if it was February, because then it would be 222. This is a side-scrolling, I believe, co-op platformer, and it was one of these games that was really pushed by Microsoft and stuff like that. And oh, it's on the Xbox, and now it's like, oh, it's coming to the Switch as well. And with all the Microsoft Nintendo rumors that are buzzing around the place like irritating flies, oh, it just only adds to the fire, doesn't it? It's got a beautiful art style, and I really like the sort of the cutesy appeal of the character or characters, if you like. And, you know, the fact that it's got this sort of yarn-based thing, I don't know, it's just really charming and appealing. And I never played the original and always liked the look of it, so I'm definitely going to give this one a go. Then, on the 26th of March, another game that just cruelly passed me by, because I didn't have a PlayStation, Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what I can say about this game, to be honest. I mean, it's one of the most celebrated RPGs ever, and it's a game, as I previously stated, that I've never actually played. Again, it's just come down to circumstance, and there have been a couple of people expressing concerns with this version, that it's, you know, got a couple of issues with like the music and things like that, where it sort of restarts when you come out of a battle or something along those lines. I've forgotten, but even so, it's one of the finest RPGs ever to exist, one of the most critically acclaimed, and I've never played it, so of course I'm going to be playing it, because bloody hell, I need to catch up. Similarly, on the 26th of March, we have got Xena Racer. Is it Xenon Racer? It's Xenon Racer. I must admit, when I first saw the trailer for this game, I can't remember how, I think was it in a direct or something? I've completely lost track. I wasn't blown away, to say the least. I thought it was really underwhelming, and I think it was simply because the trailer had pretty much no sound effects. It was just background music the entire time, which, okay, fine, but when it's a racing game, you want to impose some weight and stuff like that, but that's not relevant. The game itself, actually, now I've seen gameplay, looks pretty good. It's very much a sort of a Ridge Racer arcade-style game where you're going around and you've got these ridiculous sort of futuristic-looking cars with ludicrous spoilers that really can't affect the car in any positive way whatsoever, but even so, it looks like it's gonna be good fun, a really good solid arcade racer, which the Switch really doesn't have a lot of racing games. It has a handful here and there, but realistically, no, it's kind of lacking in that area. I don't know whether maybe they've fallen out of fashion or something like that, but yeah, any decent racing game coming to the Switch is okay in my book. And lastly, on the 29th of March, we have got Yoshi's Crafted World. I've talked about this at length. No, I haven't. I wrote about it, didn't I? I was going to do a video, and then I went on holiday. How about that? I've actually had a good go at the game already. I've played a number of levels beyond the demo and stuff like that. Nintendo UK kindly invited me down and yeah, blah, 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 all that sort of thing. And it's, you know, it's really good fun. I don't know whether it's going to absolutely set the world on fire, or at least the woolly world on fire. But you know what? I don't think every game has to, and I think it's going to be a good laugh, and it's going to be a good Yoshi game. I don't think it's necessarily going to be much more than that. It's going to be a Yoshi game, and, you know, it's going to be a good one. And after some things like Yoshi's New Island, we need good Yoshi games. Oh, lordy-loo. So I'm really looking forward to it. There's loads of charms stuffed in there, and it's got a really great sense of style, really consistent, and it's a Yoshi game, and it's got a couple of new ideas. What could go wrong? And there you have it. That is just a handful of the loveliest games coming to the Nintendo Switch in the month of March. However, there are bound to be loads more games that haven't even been announced yet that will be coming out and will be announced in March. But it's currently February when I'm recording this, and it's hopefully going out in February as well. On February? Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, then why don't you point to that subscribe button, go to all you, and then click it if you haven't subscribed. Oh, I'm running out of ideas for these. And be sure to check out nintendolife.com for all sorts of lovely Nintendo-related content. Thank you again for watching. Bye-bye.